Welcome, everybody, and how are you doing tonight? My name is Brother Chris. I'm actually here with my colleague, and my colleague's on the other line.
Hello, everyone. This is the lady, the Gypsy Lady,
And
and wish to welcome everyone to the session tonight. And I think you'll find it interesting.
so tonight, though, we're going to do those. Actually, take a look at 12 ways though that you can actually clear negative energy. Anything else that you like to say, Eva?
Well, not really. Negative energy is it's very interesting. What we would classify sometimes as negative energy really, excuse me. Uh, oh, I'm sorry. What we would say is negative energy is just a lower vibration of our energies, and it's not really negative as much as just lower. It's just energy that we're not relating to, and they're not relating to us because we are at a higher level. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense altogether. Most people usually think about negative energy to do with demonic and everything else. It sort of deals with that, but the thing though is we always try to live our lives more or less at a higher presence, which is what you were just trying to say, if I am correct.
Yes, you are.
So, but yeah, if we bring a lot of light around us, it's really good. And I had a job interview a couple days ago, and we kind of got actually on the topic about negative energy, but it was the question was drawn in a different way, and I turned around and said though that if you're looking for a negative within your life, you're gonna bring always negativity around you.
Well, that kind of goes with what I was taught by Saul, is like attracts like. So if you're going to be a negative person, it's going to draw, you're going to draw negative energy. And you have to be, I don't want to say be careful, but you have to be aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it. Because if you feed that negative energy with, um, nobody likes me, I don't like the where I'm working because everybody hates me, you're going to start getting that. And it's really going to manifest. Don't do that because it's just not a good thing. Be positive. And even if there is someone there who's trying to do something, send them positive energy because it does more to diffuse the negative than it does anything else. And it does work. Trust me, I've seen it work.
Well spoken, well spoken. Like what I keep on saying to people though is, since I'm a former drag queen, people used to bring negativity to me. But the best thing to do is take that negativity, twist it upside down, put it more positive so that we can actually learn and be able to grow stronger actually as a person. Don't look at anything in the negative way. So again, though, tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking actually at some footnotes. So we do actually have some stuff in front of us, and we're going to talk about those all together.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
So I'm going to let Eva start with number one.
Number one, the first thing that you need to realize or that you can help is the sound healing. And that's something that a lot of people don't uh, tune into. That was bad. They don't realize what you can do with sound, and it's very, very interesting. Now, the notes that you gave me had different hertz levels, and I do not understand them all that well, but I do know. I took this class in meditation, and our instructor would say, let's start with the lowest chakra. And we make this sound, which was kind of like a which, even if you sing it real high, like it's still the same kind of thing. It's the nature of the sound. And the next one I think was E, and you start E and you fade out. It's really good. And the higher the hertz rating, it starts out at 396, which is for releasing fear. And then you have 4 17 hertz, which is welcoming change, and then 528, which is transformation and miracles, also DNA repair. 639, deeper connections, awakening the intuition and third eye, 741, and 852 is opening your spiritual connections. And it's very interesting. I did look this up. I should have told you this before. I did look this up online, and I was looking for these different sounds that you can work into. And on YouTube, there's all kinds of sound things where they work with these hertz ratings to help you go through the meditation. It's very, very helpful. And if you can get to the YouTube, you can do that. Just type in hertz sound for meditation, hertz sound for understanding, and it's always there.
That's really good though, because a lot of our listeners and also viewers are always trying to figure out where to go and actually listen to some of this. So good to check out YouTube. YouTube's always one place that's really good. Our next one though that we're going to be looking at though is mindful moments. So this is basically this: whenever you listen to music, do you ever get like the feel actually of negativity coming across? And then whenever you listen to something that's more calming or more uplifting, do you always feel like, hey, yeah, I've got to actually uplift my energy? Um, and that's one thing I've actually noticed though is with the music though, you can actually tell by the frequency altogether with the music. Some music though you can actually do, like some people do yoga with it, they dance. They also do exercising with the types of music, actually to keep them more or less motivated and going within the right way. Um, One though artist that I would have to say though is Buffy Saint Bernard. She's a Canadian Indigenous music artist. Um, she has passed away, but her music's actually uplifting. She did the song for the one artist that just recently passed away, which was Sinead O'Connor. Nothing compares to you. So if you listen to the music right, it actually makes you calm, meditate, and everything else going in the right way. So, so we're going to look at number 3.
Visualization, that's one of my favorite ones, because with visualization, you can do just about anything. And I bring to mind, I have had a wound. I was told it would take a whole year just to heal that wound. But I have used meditation, and I didn't use music, but I did use a creative visualization. And what I used is I put my foot in clear water in a river and let the water take the bad away. Do you know it's gone from 1 year, and I may have be over it may be healed enough that I don't have to have uh, the little wound vac that I've told you about, and it's healed that much. The doctors are just astounded, and I'm going like, well, then you tell them you use meditation, they kind of look at you like, mm-hmm. But the idea with meditation is visualization. To get in a good position, usually seated. You can lay down, just don't fall asleep. Breathe deep and center yourself. You take a few minutes, it's not going to be instant. You take a deep breath in, and they say, visualize a white ball of energy at your chakra, your crown chakra, which is right above your head. And as you slowly exhale, see this ball of light flowing down and entering in your body. And as it does that, it takes away all the negativity. It takes away all the all the bad energies out of you. And then you take another deep breath in and out, and you visualize your body filling up with the color green or purple. I would say any color that you feel is healing. It depends on your own feelings. and visualize the edges of your aura sealing up afterwards. And this, you bring the color in and let it wash over your body, and then you visualize the edges of your aura sealing it afterwards. I agree with most of what they say on here, but the color thing, we were always taught, or I was always taught, that it depends on the color that you feel is the most healing. If it's green, which is my favorite, a nice Kelly green, use that. Other people I've talked to say they use mostly in the blue and blue area, such as blue itself, purple, turquoise, whatever you feel is the most healing. And I did have one person one time tell me that they used a dusty red because it reminded them of sunset and the ending of all the bad, the ending of the day, but the ending of all the bad. You're letting the bad out. So that's the visualization thing. That one is something that we could talk for a whole hour on, and I could tell you how visualization can help you do a lot of different things and how to use it with your meditation. But in this case, you're trying to get rid of negativity, so you visualize it flowing out of your body and being taken away. Ta-da!
Yeah, and I love the metaphor though that you said about the water.
Mm.
Now years ago we were up at Trevor's parents' property, and there's a little creek that goes through. And we were told from somebody a while ago, if you want to actually basically try to get rid of the negative energy, just soak your feet actually within it, and let the flowing of the water cleanse and take that negativity energy actually away. So I love that what you were saying. So our next one though that we're going to look at though is doing journaling. And this one here is really good though, because whenever you get upset, whenever you get actually any negative energy extra, that could be with somebody driving, that could be with work, that could be with anybody within the family. Best thing to do is actually write down what's going actually on altogether. Write down all that frustration actually within paper. Now the reason why though is basically because you're releasing actually all that negative energy onto the paper, and it does help out quite a bit. That's one thing I've actually done throughout the years, is actually whenever people have actually got me really upset, way before, this is over 20 years ago, I used to write things down quite a bit. And what I did though is I used to keep a book, but I would go back through and actually read them and sort of laugh at myself. Another good way though is whenever you feel the negative energy gone, a couple of days later, burn it. So that way you're releasing all that negative energy actually out, away from you. And again, training journalism is really good. The reason why is because we're taught actually at a very young age, right when we're actually in elementary school, doing journaling. That's one thing that our teachers always say to us: write down the journal. And I remember a couple weeks ago, Eva was saying though that she still has her journals from way back when.
Yeah.
So
No, I should burn them. I should get rid of them, whatever you want to do, but I just don't, because sometimes I wrote something, and when I look back over, because I know I wrote it down and I know it's in there, I got to find it. And when I do find it, it adds, it helps. Because I've been through it once before. What did I do from that? That makes any sense.
yeah, it does. It does. That's why sometimes. That's why I said sometimes. So actually, I used to keep them because again, those you look back at some of the footnotes, and it's like, how did I basically recover myself actually from the negative though that was happening at that time? Because I know throughout our walk here on Turtle Island, and also throughout the world, so that we do actually experience some things over and over and over. It's basically though is it's our ancestors and also spirit guides. They're trying to teach us the proper way. So doing like writing things down is always a good way actually how to actually keep contact with yourself and look at things exactly how to move on from there. So we're going to move on to our next one.
No, that's yours.
Nope, that's yours. You're number 5.
Number 5. Oh, I skipped down. Meditation. It's kind of interesting because it's a short little one compared to the rest of them. And I could talk for hours on what meditation can and cannot do. Um, it does kind of go along with the last one that I was talking about with the visualization. That's one of the things when you're dealing with something, visualization can be very, very important and very helpful. Just by setting things up. Another example was I had the worst migraines. I had medication, I had everything. I started with my meditation classes, and that's when the instructor said, "Do this, see if this helps." And it was basically the all the things that go with a migraine were wild horses, and I put them into corral. And when I started doing that, I did not have a migraine ever again. It took a little bit. It took more than one time to do it, but yes, and that's what you can do. Take those negative ideas or whatever negative is happening and visualize it in a symbolic way. And well, something just passed through my mind. If somebody's really bothering, don't visualize any negative bad things about them, like you're going to hang them from from a tree limb or something. Don't do that. That's just as bad. Visualize them surrounded with love. Send them hearts and roses or hearts and candy or whatever, but do a strong image surrounding the negativity so that the image that you put, which is a very positive, a very good thing, that you can surround it with all the love, which is what positive energy is all about anyway. And but keep it simple. And sometimes people it takes a while to get into the meditation thing, and if you only can give it like 5 minutes, work with that. It's better than nothing.
So number 6, what we're going to look at though is smudging. So with us indigenous here, what we do is we actually use sweetgrass, tobacco, sage, and cedar. All right, so we use all those. That way we can actually be able to help cleanse ourselves. Now this list though does have down lavender, mugwort. It does have down green, like garden sage or green sage, which I wouldn't really say those. I would say more or less white sage because white sage is more purifying. Wormwood, holy basil, or lemon uh, blem. I think that's it. But again, though, is these are some stuff though that you can actually use. Now, again, though, is I would say probably the warm, like the warm wood is more or less like Palo Santos. Palo Santos is really good though. You can reuse it and reuse it. You can relight it. Now with white sage though, is a one-time use because once you do actually burn it, you can't reuse it. But one thing I do find though that a lot of people are not doing though is whenever they're using the shell, the albion shell, the flat open area, whenever they're smudging to people, it's actually facing them. That's the wrong thing to do. Is actually turn that shell around so basically the smoke can be able to get to them. Now, if you want to smudge yourself, make sure that flat portion that's open of the albion shell is facing towards you, so that you can be able to smudge. We're going to move actually on to number 7.
And that is breathing. And breathing is very, very, very important. Actually, they call it breath work. And our breathing is very, very important because without our breath, we would die. And I am not even going to attempt the words that they give me because for this it's called pranayama. See, I'm not even sure how it's pronounced, but it's our breathing patterns. And you don't even have to meditate. If you're, I'm always told, don't hold your breath. And that's the whole thing. Don't hold your breath. Bring in that air. When you have problems or something, one of the things I was taught, close your eyes, breathe deep in the cleansing air, hold 2, 4, exhale, and you can, if you can, visualize, goes back to the other, visualize dark, ucky stuff being pulled out of your body, negative feelings, uh, bad things that are happening to you around you. And one of the things that they suggest, which I have been taught, is the 4-7-8. Empty your lungs, which I can't figure out how to do that yet, but just don't breathe in. Breathe in for 4 seconds, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8 seconds with a whoosh. So come on, do it with me. Okay, you got it.
All right,
It's
so
great.
so I know some people weren't doing that, but you should have been doing that.
Yes, you should. It's always a great thing to do. It's great for detoxing. It's great for just calming yourself. And another thing that it's good for in the 4-7-8 is when you can't sleep, do the inhaling. Although when you're doing the sleep, don't do the whooshing sound. Just let it exhale out in kind of a, because you're doing an ah sound, which is also a very good harmonic with the body. And it takes a little bit. Again, this is not something that you pick up overnight, but once you get the rhythm of it and how to do it, and you don't even have to count. You just automatically. I know I didn't quite count, but you get the idea. You automatically do this, and and one of the things that I feel is it really does calm you. It really calms you down.
Yeah,
Next.
yeah. So the next one though is this is really good though, because this next one though helps me even today. It's basically spending time within nature. Do you ever notice those whenever you're upset? If you go for a walk, actually in the woods, or even if you're going to be going, say, along a river or whatever, that you do calm down, right? It's basically though the flow actually of everything though that you're working with though that actually it's taking all this negativity away. It's clearing your mind so that your mind is more open and it's more grounded actually altogether. It's a short one though, but again though, it's spend time within nature. It could be in the country, sort of like Eva's in the country area, right? Even if you just sit on the porch, if you're not near anybody or whatever, that area does actually help you out quite a bit, and it does help out more energy wise for you. So yeah, so we're going to take a look at the next one.
Water cleansing. That is probably one of the hardest ones to do, to be able to go to a lake, jump in the water, go to a river, immerse yourself in that. It kind of goes along with your spending time in nature. But like myself right now, I can't get out there. So there is an alternative. And one of the things they recommend is a cup or two of Epsom salts with the herbs of your choice. I particularly like rose petals. I don't know, rose petals and flower stuff. I find that to be the best. And you make it part of your bath and just soak. And another suggestion, if you like the water cleansing, but you're not the kind that, like, I can't get in and out of a bathtub right now. So I just take showers, and I love showers because I visualize as the water rushes or comes out of the shower head, and it flows through my body or over my body. And as it does that, it takes away all the bad, and it just flushes them down the drain. Unless, of course, you have ours which backs up every now and again, and it's like, okay, what are you telling me? You're supposed to laugh, ha ha ha. But any any way that you can get yourself surrounded by water is a good thing. Um, w- Water is a cleansing device, and that's what it can do to you mentally, physically, and emotionally, and spiritually. Okay.
Yeah. So our next one though that we're going to be looking at though is clear your physical space. Now, not clearing out your own house by moving everything actually out of your place and packing up and saying, all right, everything's for sale. Don't do that. But cleanse your physical space. Basically, meaning those if there's anything that's negativity around you, like what was said earlier, do with the water, do with the smudging. That way you're basically getting your mind, even meditating. That way you're cleansing actually all your aura around you. That way everything is not coming into one certain area. Because if you actually don't cleanse, if you don't smudge, if you don't meditate, right, you're holding everything actually all into a ball. And eventually that ball keeps on growing, and that ball will explode. So cleansing your physical space, though, is basically is relax, breathe, and again, though, is just say, hey, I don't need this stuff. I was with my father because we just moved my mother actually into a new home, and I said to my father though is what I'm looking at nowadays. Ever since doing these actually here on Spotify and YouTube with Eva, is I'm looking at my life and saying, okay, do I really need this stuff? How can I make myself better? And whenever there's stuff though that's actually facing with negativity, I basically mentally turn myself around and walk the other way. And that's one thing I'm finding that a lot of people are not doing though. And it's best off to. That way you can actually clear your physical space. Anything else?
Uh,
Anything else you could say about that?
well, I hear you hear this cleaning your space. I don't know. I was flipping through the channels and I came across Hoarding Buried Alive. And talk about cleaning your physical space. Oh my God. It's like, no, I'm not going to let it get that bad. Because, man, that's holding on to a lot of negativity. And we go into the next one, which is cord cutting. And when the first time I ever heard that, my first thought was like the cutting the umbilical cord. And I'm getting this look on my face, and the teacher says, "What is going on with you?" And I told him, and he says, "Well, that's a good image for this cord cutting, because what happens when you cut the cord? You leave your mother's body. You are no longer dependent on it. You don't need that." And that's the same thing that when you cut the uh, energetic cords that are formed between people, especially you know uh, when we get to the negative people, and you've got to cut that cord. You've got to get rid of it, because holding on to that, it just it's just not going to work. They're feeding off your positiveness, but they're giving it back in negativity. Okay.
Very well spoken. Very well spoken. Yeah,
Thank you.
because my mind right when you just read that at first I was thinking about that umbilical cord. So that's what my mind was thinking about. Our next one though that we're going to look at though is sleep. Now a lot of us though, yeah, we always sleep. We always sleep. But we never think about it those. Whenever we're sleeping those, we're letting actually our angels, our ancestors, even the divine ones, to be able to come in while we're sleeping and actually take that negativity away. Another good way though that with us indigenous though is the dream catcher. I know a lot of people use dream catchers over top of their bed to basically keep that negativity away from them. Um, but again though is right when I was just reading this though, I was just thinking about the old saying though, never go to bed right when you have a spouse or somebody though that's close to you. Never go to bed angry. The reason why is because if you go to bed angry, definitely that anger will be with you actually in the morning. Always go to bed, resolve everything else before you go to bed. That way you can actually be able to have a good sleep and be able to get a little bit more healthier. I know right now, though, I'm actually having problems with my uric acid, which is gout in my knee. But the thing is, even though the amount of sleep I get, it's keeping me a little bit more calm, more relaxed. Besides the discomfort pain, even knows exactly what I'm talking about for discomfort pain. But yeah, the best thing to do though is again those sleep. But again, those if you're gonna ever have a fight with anybody or a disagreement with anybody, resolve it before you go to bed. If you can't resolve it, do what we talked about earlier. Do some journaling, write it down, or even if you have any sage, sweetgrass, or anything like that, write that. Basically, burn that. Meditate. If you can't do any of that, if you're near water, if you're camping somewhere, or even if you have a little creek, go to the water. The water is the best way for you. It's going to actually help take all this negativity, especially with what's going on in the world today. We do need this. That way we're actually there. The old saying goes, help your neighbor. Your neighbor is going to help you. So we're going to take a good look, actually short look at a couple of things, and we'll be back after this short, quick break.
August 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live on YouTube, August 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
On August 18th, if things go well, Eva and myself, we will be live on YouTube. We will be doing live readings. Alrighty, so hopefully that actually 12 steps, it does help you out. I'm going to sort of let Eva take care of the next portion. She's an awesome person, awesome reader. So we're going to basically look actually at energy healing and shadow work. This stuff's going to help you out exactly also with the negativity about cleansing yourself. So I'm just going to give this over to Eva.
Well, one thing to remember, everything that I've given you is kind of like, I don't want to say short term, but it's something that it's not something that you can carry on forever. You have to also start working within yourself to heal yourself also. There's a lot of things about ourselves that we don't like. Well, deal with it. I know that sounds rather harsh, but deal with it. I mean, I have had a weight problem all my life. Well, it's not something that's going to go away unless I do something, like diet. Oh, good heavens, no. Laugh at that one. Go right ahead. But
that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm like totally laughing at it. I know my mic's jumping up high, but yeah.
But that's the point. If you want to be skinny, well, then diet. If that's not your thing, then learn to live with it being fat. And like I have reached the point where it's like, if you don't like me the way I look, go look someplace else because I'm not going to change. Love me for who I am. And that's very difficult also to love yourself for who you are. And we have to deal with that. We have to be able to look at not only the whole, but the parts that make the whole. And if there's something that you don't like, change it. And sometimes it's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. That's my favorite. That's my favorite tonight. You should go through and count and see how many times I say that. It's not going to happen right now. It's not going to happen next week. It's going to take time because you can't. it does happen though. I was just thinking, yes, there are incidences where, yeah, boom, it happens overnight, but then you've been praying for it for a long time also. And that's the other thing. Connect with the higher self, or connect with the higher beings, connect with the creator spirit, and ask for intervention to help heal. There's nothing wrong with that. And just remember that negativity or negative energy is a part of life. It's going to be there whether the only way you can not deal with negativity is to be dead. And I have no intentions of dying right now. And it's going to be there. But it's how we let it affect us. If we sit there and say, oh, that person at work is really nasty, the longer you hold on to it, the more it's going to eat at you, and the more you're going to carry that negative energy around, and it's going to affect that person more because they're feeding off your negative energies. Well, be nice to them. Like the old saying, kill them with kindness. And if nothing else, don't go there.
Yeah.
Leave them alone.
Yeah, and
That's even. Go ahead.
Like another great one though is if you're gonna point a finger, and this is what I said to my father a couple of days ago. If you're gonna point a finger actually at somebody, how many fingers are pointing back at you?
Exactly. And then there is the shadow work, which is an acknowledgement of the negative as well as the unconscious. And in order to be someone who lives in the light, works in the light, works with the light, however you want to put it, you have to be able to acknowledge that negative. Negative energy is out there. It's never going to go away. The best example that was given to me is there are angels all around us, and there are also devils. And it's never going to change. It's going to stay that way until the end of time. And we don't know when that's going to happen. But the idea also is, don't internalize all this stuff. Yes, you're going to come across people who are mean, who are ugly in a emotional sense. People who just, no matter what you do, they're not going to be nice to you. Well, again, you either live with it and accept it and deal with it, or you walk away. And it's entirely up to you how you deal with that. But just remember, you are the best thing in the universe. Everybody else is second best.
Yeah. So true, so true. So work actually on yourself before you work on others.
Yes.
So again,
And-
so
well,
go ahead.
the other
No,
thing-
go ahead. Go
The
ahead.
other thing is with the negativity, the positive, if you keep with the positive and you keep putting out the positive, you will have more positive people around you than negative people. And the positive people will help you deal with that negativity.
You guys want to be able to catch actually our last week's show. It was a great show, though. We had a special guest actually on the show. Eva actually loved having this guest actually on. Her name is Tatiana, and we were talking about karma. Tonight's episode, which is basically to do with working actually on the negative energy actually on yourself, not on others. So hopefully tonight, though, that we gave you some good helpful hints to be able to work on yourself. Go ahead.
We were talking about karma, and karma is as karma does. That's also kind of dealing with a little bit of the negative energy that surrounds you. If you keep the positive, it will come back to you as positive. And you would be surprised how much is floating around you or will be floating around you if you keep the positive.
Yeah.
The karma will bring it back to you.